Hi, my name is Gayla Bartlett, and welcome to Lead On. This is where we meet with our local community leaders who are out there doing so many wonderful things in our community, and sometimes behind the scenes, sometimes in front of the scenes. And I'm very excited that today we have with us the Executive Director of HAWC, Sara Stanley. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So first of all, you've been with HAWC how long now?
Since 2015.
Great. As the Executive Director?
And so I've been Executive Director for the past year.
That's wonderful. So can you tell us a little bit about what you've done with HAWC?
Sure.
So on your way up?
Yeah, so I joined HAWC as their Director of Legal Services. I'm an attorney by trade, so I practice family law and supervised our legal services at HAWC, which have grown significantly over the past several years. We decided, the agency made a decision to develop leadership from within. And so I got to spend a year as Deputy Director working closely with then Executive Director Paula Harrington. And so I was thrilled to take over the helm last July as Executive Director. The agency has a very special place in our community. We've been serving the community for 40 years.
Right.
So it's really an honor.
And you just recently got done with your walk?
That's right. We had the Walk for HAWC at the end of April. We had a wonderful fundraising. It was a wonderful fundraising event, and it was a wonderful community event. It's an opportunity for families and community members to get together, and it really brings a lot of hope to the community that we're all in this together, and together we can end violence.
Right. It's always nice that there's a clothesline project that's always there every year.
We had really beautiful shirts this year that were made by current participants in our support groups and the women living in our shelter. They were really beautiful.
Which is wonderful. I know that we've had you out to speak at our Kiwanis group here from Danvers Kiwanis.
Such a fun group.
So fun. So I know that we made bags that would be given to the people when they come in.
Yes.
To the shelter, which was nice.
Just to paint the picture a little bit for you, when someone comes into shelter, sometimes, it's never planned, right? It's an emergency, and they come with nothing. And to have that prepared, lovely prepared bag from the Kiwanis with toiletries and personal care items fulfills a very basic need.
Right.
But two, just sends them the message that there are people that care about you. There are people that are going to support you and want to restore your sense of dignity.
Which is great. And I think it's important for the viewers to understand that HAWC can take donations of all different levels, from people helping out on the call centers and being trained to do that.
Yes.
And there's so many different volunteer opportunities and donation opportunities. If you could touch on that a little so people would have an idea, that would be great.
Right. So I would love if people want to follow us on Facebook. We put out a lot of requests on Facebook, but also on our website, www.hawctv.org. We have a wish list that we maintain continually. And so we have standard things that we always need: toiletries, cleaning supplies, bedding, linens, pillows. Those are things that we're always in need of. And then on our social media, a lot of times we'll put out specific needs. For instance, we just had a young mother come into our shelter with a 2-month-old infant, and we needed everything for this baby, and we put out a call on social media, and people were so incredibly generous.
That's great.
It really meant the world to this young mother and her infant, and also to the staff. We really appreciate that.
That's great.
And so those are ways to donate. You'll see on our website we also have particular funds to support particular work. Our legal fund and children's services fund. And then we're always looking for folks to help out at fun events like the Walk for HAWC and other events that we have during the year. And for folks that really want to kind of jump in and roll up their sleeves and be involved personally in this work, getting trained up to do our hotline is a really impactful way to support survivors.
Which is great. There's so much that you do. I know before the show started we were talking about the different domestic violence that's just happened recently here in our communities.
Yeah, so the past 30 days, we've seen a tremendous amount of violence against women and young girls We've had 3 domestic violence homicides in Massachusetts. And there's also been a high-profile case in Connecticut where a mother of 5 has disappeared and the ex-husband was arrested for that. And then there was a case of a young girl on the North Shore who is believed to have been sexually assaulted prior to her death. So this is all to say is that our hearts go out to the families of these victims, but that the community needs to take, to pay attention to this. We become so inundated with the violence that we almost become numb to it, and we can't. We have to pay attention, and I know people out there are saying, this can't be, this isn't right, and what can we do? Because it's going to take every single person to address the sources of violence in our communities.
And the warning signs too. Right, absolutely.
Right.
So what do you do in your centers? I think if we can let people know what services that you offer for people that are, if they're being abused or there's things that they can't handle.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we have a 24-hour hotline that is free and confidential. That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that is a great resource, not only if someone individually has questions, but for people that want to know how to support a friend or a family member. We can give support to someone who calls. So we have 3 community-based offices, one in Salem, Gloucester, and Lynn. And out of those offices, we offer one-on-one advocacy. We offer legal services. We have free legal clinics every single week. And, with limited availability for direct representation as well. Then we have HAWC advocates in 5 local courts. So if someone needs to go to the court to apply for a protective order, we have staff members who are there 5 days a week to support them through that process.
So do they go in with the people and actually speak for them, or are they there just to walk them through the process? Right.
So the legal advocates are not attorneys, but they're able to support through all the paperwork. I find this hard to believe, but there's a lot of paperwork. So supporting through filling out the paperwork and physically accompanying the individual into court, and we can physically stand with them, but not speak for them. But we do have 2 staff attorneys who are amazing that can at times offer direct representation on high-risk cases.
That's great.
Yeah. That's one area we're really proud to have grown and want to continue growing. We're always looking for pro bono attorneys as well. We have a small team of really dedicated local attorneys that volunteer their time with us.
Right?
I started as a volunteer myself.
Right.
So that's always a great way if you have those kinds of really powerful skills. We're always looking for help in that department.
Which is huge. And I think people, when they look at HAWC and they're like, okay, so the funding goes to, I think it goes to so much. I know growing up in Salem, I've been exposed to HAWC since I was in high school, elementary school, and at Salem State. So I think if you grow up in the communities, you understand HAWC better than, from not being directly influenced. So, and, in high school, we had, girls that were in our high school that went to HAWC and, had to use the services. So I think when you're touched at such a young age by a group and the wonderful work that they do, that's definitely easy, I know for myself, to support it throughout adulthood.
Oh, and I know you've been such a supporter of HAWC.
Oh, we
really
love HAWC.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
I know I had served, like I told you, served on the walk committee before, back when Candace was, in charge. But yeah, so HAWC, obviously, in all our nonprofits here, I know in town, like Kiwanis has supported HAWC, and so many different people support HAWC because the work that you do is amazing.
And it's great. We have a wonderful community here on the North Shore. We're really excited to partner with other nonprofits.
Absolutely.
We really grateful to have received a Cummings Foundation grant.
Yeah, you said that. That's huge.
Yeah, to it's actually going to fund a youth empowerment program.
That's great.
That we're going to do in collaboration with other nonprofits here on the North Shore that are already serving young people.
That's exciting.
And the goal is to empower young people with the healthy relationship skills that they need to resolve conflict, identify red flags, identify what is healthy in a relationship with regard to power and boundaries. So we're really excited to do that in collaboration with other great organizations.
That's huge. Good for you. That's wonderful. Yeah. Who writes the grants in your organization? So did you write it, or?
Oh, we work with a wonderful grant writer. Her name is Julia Bethman. And so then in partnership with Julia and my team, we developed the grant proposal. We have Elizabeth Nash Wren is our senior manager of educational programming.
Great.
She had a big part in developing the model
That's great.
of the youth empowerment program.
That's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, we're
That'll be
really
great.
excited about that.
That's awesome. That's good. And I think now that there's so much social media, I think now there's even more of a push to, because there's so much that goes on for young girls and, everybody out there, but, once a picture's taken and trying to educate them on, yes, once you delete it, it's not really deleted.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that. And then the cyberbullying and the harassment. And
Right. And it all boils, we have so many people trying to address these issues in different areas of these young people's lives.
Right.
And it's really important that as the adults in their lives, that we all come together and we identify that we're all trying to do the same thing, right?
Right.
We're trying to help kids have a good self-esteem, to practice nonviolence,
Right.
To be kind,
Yep.
To have self-respect. So
Yep.
we're all working at it from different angles.
Absolutely.
And we love to see the collaboration. For example, we're doing a collaboration with Essex Tech.
Oh, good.
For their young people and their staff,
great.
where we are working on some of these issues so that we can have a shared language.
Absolutely. That's huge.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to see that HAWC has taken an executive director that has a legal background too. I think that's new. And I think that's wonderful because it shows, you see it through a different kaleidoscope, a different perspective. And I think that's great. And it's always nice to see fresh and exciting different ideas, which I think definitely revamps nonprofits as they go through. I mean, a few years ago there was the logo change and you changed your wording, which is great, but it's always nice to get not fresh blood, but rejuvenation.
Yeah,
rejuvenation
absolutely.
and excitement, which I think is great.
Right, and we are in that phase as an agency. We have a young, enthusiastic staff and team.
It's great.
And really being connected to what's going on in the community right now. And the legal lens I think is so important in that we want to support survivors in a really specific way. We're going to give them back power.
Right.
So often when you go into court, it's a complete power imbalance, and because of the effects of trauma, someone might be impacted and not be able to present their story. And a lot of times an abusive partner has more resources.
Yep.
They appear more stable because they have been the one collecting all the control. And by having our legal services, we level the playing field.
Right.
Because one of the most heartbreaking things for us to see is that when someone is able to leave an abusive relationship and then through the court process, somehow the offender is still manages to keep the upper hand by obtaining custody, by pressing criminal charges against the victim. So there's all kinds of ways the system is manipulated if there are not legal services involved.
Right, which is great that you have the advocates, and that's huge.
And so we're getting power back into the hands of people that have been stripped of their power.
Which is great. So what other exciting things do we have coming up? I said, so you got the grant.
We got the grant, so we're really excited. We're going to partner with 3 wonderful local organizations.
Okay.
Root, Youth Build,
I've
Shore
heard of Youth Build,
CDC's
yep.
Youth Build, and Leap for Education.
Okay.
And so we're going to work with those organizations to develop a healthy relationship curriculum to embed in their existing life skills. So we'll life skills curriculum that they do with the youth that are already coming. And the wonderful thing about this model is that we'll be supporting the staff at these organizations so that it really becomes institutionalized.
That's wonderful.
And that there's shared language and support so that when we go in and educate young people, things come up. And so now the staff is also going to be supported. We'll be supporting the staff as they manage that as well.
That's so great. And I think we're lucky to have HAWC. I mean, and is there a shelter, I know we never say where they are, but how many shelters are there that HAWC supports?
So we have our own one emergency shelter.
Which houses, is it 12?
Right, it's 9 rooms.
9 rooms, okay.
9 rooms with a capacity of about 25 at a time.
Okay.
Adults and children.
Right.
We've had some wonderful volunteer teams. That's something that we love to invite the community to do. Is if you have a business, if you manage any kind of team or have any kind of community group that you're active with, we're always looking for volunteers to help us maintain our shelter. From yard work, gardening,
I didn't know
painting,
that.
Which is usually a very
we could
fun
do a hands-on
experience.
Service project.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I like that.
That's exactly.
exciting.
And a lot of times that's very impactful to be able to see the space where we're creating. A lot of times, so often we have a survivor say, I was afraid to go into shelter because I didn't know what it would look like.
Yeah.
I was afraid that it would be worse than what I'm currently experiencing. Because you have to remember, people are leaving their homes.
Well, some of them are homeless too, isn't that?
Right. They're homeless because they've had to leave.
Right, they've had to leave, right. And to get the courage to leave is huge. You don't want them to be.
Right, and so when they come in and see this beautifully kept,
nice,
warm environment that feels like a house, feels like a home.
Which is great.
It means the world.
Yeah. So that's good to know. So there's painting opportunities or landscaping.
Painting, landscaping. It's a big place to upkeep, so we're always looking for
volunteers,
help with that.
Which is great. Yeah. Because a lot of nonprofits I know are looking for hands-on activities.
Right.
Which is great, and a lot of the students are too. So
it really gives people the opportunity to connect with, the people that they're hoping to help.
Which is great.
We're hoping to we're running a program now where you can adopt a shelter room.
Oh, really?
And dress it up with kind of the little things in life that make a room feel inviting. And so anywhere from lamps and throw pillows and blankets and shelving units, we're looking to really make those rooms more functionable as well.
Yeah.
Because you're living in a small space a lot of times with multiple children.
So now, is this on the website, the Adopt a Shelter Room program?
I believe so, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cute. Yes. That's great marketing.
Right? We need some people with nice decorating. We need some artwork. Right now, we costs a lot of money to maintain a shelter.
Absolutely.
And so the rooms are sparse and spare. And we'd love to have the community join in and help us make these rooms more homey.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I think it would be very fun.
I think it could be competitive too.
And I think so too. I'd love to challenge people.
Several nonprofits would compete. I can see this.
Who can make the nicest room?
I see this as competition.
Yes, we also have our play spaces in our offices that need love, that need fresh toys.
Oh, really? That's great.
Developmentally appropriate toys and play space things. So we love to challenge people out there.
Absolutely, that's great. That's cute. Well, that's something that a lot of people are looking for. Is, like I said, the hands-on service projects, which is wonderful to do.
Because we know we live in such an amazing community.
Yep.
People want to make this a safe and happy place for everyone, and we want to give people the opportunity to contribute.
Absolutely, that's great. So the walk is in April.
Yes.
So we'll set it again for next year.
Right.
What do you have in between? Is there a fundraising gala or anything coming up in the middle? I know you're going to be working really hard on the grant and the education piece, but what else do you have coming up that people can participate in?
Yeah, absolutely. October is Domestic Violence Awareness
Okay.
Month. We will be having a slew of activities and events. We really encourage everyone to follow us on social media to hear about those events. We always do proclamations in all the major cities on the North Shore.
Okay.
And that's a great opportunity for people to come out and feel connected. We'll also have our Working to Heal breakfast. That will be
Okay.
October 22nd.
Yep, I've been to that before, where the survivors speak.
Yes, yes, and we usually do, we host the Silent Witness Project, which is a display that symbolizes everyone that we've lost to domestic violence over the past year. And that's always very impactful as well.
And that's in what month? Is that in October as well?
October 22nd.
Okay, do you have a location for that yet? Is that
Yes, it's going to be actually right here in Danvers.
is it a Doubletree?
Danversport.
Danversport. Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, that's always a really
That's the emotional.
it's emotional, but also full of hope.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we're in the business of doing.
Absolutely,
is
yep.
We meet people that are in crisis, and we there to support them, and we hear amazing stories of
stories, yep.
people restarting their lives.
And the work that you guys do is crucial, so it's wonderful. Absolutely. So October, we've got that, and then it's pretty much December. I know there's a focus on the children.
We'll have our annual fund. We'll go out
Yep.
in December, and we have our big holiday drive,
Right.
where we collect gifts
Yep.
from community members to supply to our clients and
Which
their
is
children.
huge. Right.
And it's so
Isn't
fun.
it like a Santa's closet or something? What do you guys title it?
Right.
It has a title. What is that called?
Well, we've called it a couple different things, and if anyone has a cute name
I
idea,
thought it
I'd
was
love
like
to
Santa's
hear
closet
it.
or something, but what do we call it?
Right now, it's just the holiday drive.
Okay.
But it is also a really wonderful way to volunteer. We always need, I do call them Santa's helpers.
Yes.
To come in and help us sort the gifts to ensure people get both basic needs, warm clothes,
Right.
all those kind of things, but also some toys. And
Yeah, they need the toys.
They need
a little something special.
Too.
Yep.
Absolutely. And recently spoke to one client who said, as part of the holiday gift drive, she received the first pair of pajamas she had ever had.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and she said just receiving that one gift of a matching pajama set just made her feel loved and special, and
Isn't that amazing?
really helped boost
Yep.
everything she's doing now to
That's great.
really create an amazing life.
Well, that's beautiful, though.
Yeah.
Just the pajamas, and I know sometimes it can be a stuffed animal or something like that for
Always
when they're
looking
crisis.
for books and books in Spanish and English.
In your Salem office, though, I know there's a walk-in because I've been in the Salem office quite a few times, and I know isn't there a sitting area
There
where
is.
they can go in with the children? So that's
Right.
where you need the books and
The
some of
play
the learning
spaces,
toys.
yeah. We're really hoping, because you can imagine as a
Right, they're
mom
sitting
that
there.
when you come in with your child, if you know your child is happy and kind of engaged in a
Right.
positive way, you can focus on what you need to do, and that's
Absolutely.
something that we know to be true. And we have programs that support children directly, because
Right.
as the parent, parents and anyone that loves a child knows you're usually only doing as well as you know your child is
Right.
doing. And that's why we have programs like the Parent-Child Trauma Recovery
Mm-hmm.
Program that we do in partnership with North Shore Medical Center
Okay.
and Children's Friend and Family and Lynn Community Health Center, where we work with their clinicians, and we partner with them, and we create a therapeutic team to support the parent and their child that has witnessed domestic violence.
Because that's going to be absolutely horrifying for that child.
Right, so you're supporting the child, but also working on the relationship between the parent and the child, because these little people experience a lot, and to
Right.
help the parent have the language and the tools and the understanding to understand what it meant for their child to witness that, and to have them form that bond in that team
Right.
to move forward.
That they're going to get through it together, which is wonderful.
Right, we're really proud of that program. We've recently, in the past year, we expanded that program.
That's great.
The Parent-Child Trauma Recovery Program to Cape Ann.
Great.
So we're really proud of that.
So you're right, because there's a office out in Gloucester,
That's right.
so that you have that whole So Gloucester basically would take over Newburyport and that way, or you
Yep,
separate?
so our service area it includes Cape Ann up to Ipswich.
Okay.
So Gloucester, Essex.
Yep.
I'm probably missing some other towns in
Yep.
there, but that includes our service area.
And then you go to Lynn. So you said there's an office in Lynn too?
That's right.
Okay.
And we do some great partnership there with Lynn Community Health Center.
Right.
And we're very active at the Lynn District Court supporting folks.
So are you in the Salem District Courts as well? Or?
We are.
Yep, so both of them?
Peabody District Court, Gloucester District Court, and the Probate and Family Court here in Salem.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because there's so much.
There's so much.
And there's just so much work to be done.
There is. And, sometimes I think it's hard for people to really comprehend that there's that much violence going on in our communities. And I think we need to push past that and believe survivors and say, okay, if we're not comfortable with this as a community, what do we do to prevent it?
Absolutely.
So I think we, as a community, getting over that, suspend that disbelief and kind of push past being overwhelmed by it and work together to say, okay, what do we do to prevent this violence before it happens?
Yeah, so I want to thank you so much for coming on. I mean, everything you guys do is amazing.
Oh,
and I've learned so much more today. Like, I didn't know about that recovery, the parent-child
trauma.
That's huge. And the fact that we now I'm accepting the challenge.
Oh,
I know we'll accept
yay.
the challenge. We'll get a few organizations to help with that room because I think that's great.
Oh, it would be wonderful.
That's beautiful. And also that there's such a need. I mean, a lot of people buy toys and buy books and figure they can just do them at the holidays. But the fact that they can be given out now.
Right.
And that you're in need is great.
Particularly when kids come into our shelter, we want to give them a welcome package with a stuffed animal, a blanket, maybe a couple books, particularly books that actually touch on how to handle scary situations like a transition. We're a trauma-informed agency, and so everything we do is really intentional to support the impact of and help children and their parents manage the trauma.
Right.
Yeah.
So many different pieces. So I think this has been great so people understand that there's more to HAWC than just the walk.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so many different pieces and so many different things that people can help with and donate with and so many great things that you guys are going to start to do. And your grant is amazing. I can't wait to hear about that as it progresses. We'll have to have you guys back on with some of the students and we'll have to do a little recap on that. So this has been a great episode here on Lead On, and we're so excited that we had such a wonderful speaker today. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back as we feature more of our local community leaders. Thank you so much, and have a great day.